Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first Zoom cooking class being conducted by the GTA and Eagle Ridge Resort and Spa. My name is Steve Curtis. I am the Director of Food and Beverage at Eagle Ridge. Today I would like to introduce you to the newest member of our culinary team, Chef Joseph Gustafson. Chef Joseph brings a wealth of experience from several different places like Constantino Winery in Napa, UW Platteville, and several other outstanding restaurants in the north suburbs of Chicago. Before Chef Joseph gets started, I would like to encourage everyone to check us out on eagleridge.com. We have a brand new menu for Woodlands Restaurant and still have room for Thanksgiving carryout and delivery orders. Thank you to the GTA for allowing us this great opportunity. And now, here's Chef Joseph.
So we're going to start out doing a sauteed shrimp with julienne vegetables with a citrus beurre blanc sauce. We are also going to make a pan-seared pork tenderloin with butternut squash and apples with some caramelized onions and some great potato pancakes. For this purpose, we're going to be taking my mask off just so we can have better communication. We're starting out with our shrimp course, which we're going to use some great shrimp that we have some great products here at Eagle Ridge. So I got some U15 shrimp. U15 means there's under 15 shrimp per pound. So these are some black tiger shrimp. We already cleaned and deveined them. For this recipe and the demo purposes, you're going to be getting a kit just like this. So I'm trying to do it, from the ingredients that we provided in the way that we gave them to you, and then we'll get them to work that way. So this is our shrimp that we have. We have all our different vegetables, which we're going to start to clean and show you how to do some certain cuts, like julienne, some zucchini, yellow squash, and red bell pepper. So this all came in your kit. I want to make it real simple for you. So we have the vegetables cut, like so. Basically, we want to use. I started by cutting the zucchini. We want to get a julienne cut. So we're going 1/8 by 1/8, and then we're going to go lengthwise about 1.5 to 2 inches. We want to get the colors showing. So I'm just going to cut down. I'm going to cut one more length down, and I'm going to work my way around the seeds, which we don't want. So, and then that is, we're basically going to discard. This stuff gets a little soft and mushy as we cook it, but in here we'll have the color. Now this is also optional. I mean, I was just trying to get some most use out of the zucchini. So I could use all the green part, or I could put a little bit of the white part in for color also. So we'll just julienne this zucchini here. And it's great to have some nice fresh product to work with, and that makes great food. I met my wife teaching cooking classes, and she said, I'm just going to marry the chef and never have to cook again, so that's what she does. So if I want to use some of that, then I can use all of this to make it go further. So that's optional. It's about 1/8 inch thick. Get those, and then we want to line them up just so we get the same cuts and the same things. Take your time when you're using a knife. A good sharp knife is good. A firm blade is also good so it doesn't bend on you. And then using your fingers, knuckles as a guide, you can get some real nice cuts and consistently, and then you also don't have to worry about cutting your fingertips. And as we get our vegetables cut, we're going to turn on our pan. And it's always good to have your pans heated up as you're getting closer to the cooking process. You don't want them smoking hot, but you do want them to get warm so you can have a good sear to start a little bit. So those ones we don't need right now, and then I got some red bell pepper here. And we're going to julienne that too. So now we have some nice colorful stuff. I got green, yellow, red. That's going to be the base for our shrimp dish. And then we can just mix those up. They're all going to take about the same amount of time to cook. I do have some clarified butter that we're going to cook with. I have it in your container. It's best if this is more room temperature to start out with. So as I got my pan on, I'm going to get this first step out of the way, I'm going to add some butter. Make sure our pan's getting hot there. Sure. So what we have here is all the ingredients that came in your kit. I already diced up or julienne the vegetables. We have some fresh butter. We have clarified butter. I also have white wine, orange juice, cream, lemon juice. I have some salt and pepper. We have our U15 shrimp here. And then what this is, so with the shrimp, to butterfly a shrimp, you know, you got the shrimp. You need to get the vein out of the shrimp. And the best way is to just hold it. And then you can take a knife down and cut. And if you want it butterflied, which is how we have these shrimp, we go all the way down, but we still want to keep it intact, the shrimp. So that's what we have prepped out here. Tails are nice if you like for presentation, but if you don't want the tails, we just pull them off and go without. So then there's nothing left on the plate when you're done because everything's going to taste so great tonight. So our vegetables, and then we're going to put the vegetables in. We're just going to do a little quick saute. We want them lightly softened, and then we're going to take those off and we're going to reserve those while we prepare the other parts of the dish. As we get our, to make the sauce at the same time, we're going to take our white wine and we're going to put that in a pan. And then we're going to take some orange juice concentrate. And that's already, I use that because it's got a bold flavor. It's already concentrated. We don't have to reduce too much. And then it also has a really nice color. So that's going to help us with our dish. Then we're going to saute a little vegetables. We're going to add a little bit of pinch of salt for flavor, a little pinch of pepper. And then those items are, you know, up to your liking. Your items as you go. So I'm adding a little salt to this. I'm going to add a little seasoning to the sauce. I'm going to add some seasoning to the shrimp. And I'm going to layer those seasonings. So every bite you get, everything's going to have some flavor to it. And then, let's see what's about that. So we're going to let this reduce down a little bit. I mean, it looks like, you know, we have about 3 ounces in there or so. We're going to reduce it by half. And that gets the bitterness out of the wine and it just makes it a little sweeter. Once it reduces, then we're going to add some cream, and I'm actually going to add some lemon juice also. So it's a citrus beurre blanc, so we have orange and lemon, and then we have the wine. Beurre blanc means, you know, white butter in French, and what that is, it's a pan sauce more or less, and we're going to add fresh butter, fresh diced butter in at the end, and that's going to make the creaminess of the sauce. And but it's one sauce that is best made fresh. It's very difficult to reheat that sauce. So, but when you make a sauce that good, it's going to disappear anyway because you're just going to. People like to eat a lot of the French sauces. You know, they lick that plate clean. So that's kind of reducing. We want that to reduce by half. See how it's coming down? I'm going to pour in some heavy whipping cream. I'm going to add the lemon juice also. Sometimes you could do this near the end. But with how I have the recipe laid out, it's good to just add all of it together. Our vegetables are starting to get a little bit softened. And then I'm going to reserve those. And we're just going to put some foil over it to keep it warm. But we want them like al dente, so firm to the bite. But we don't want them too hard either, right? So that's still reducing a little bit.
If you don't have a little pan like that, can you just use a regular size skillet, 9 or 10 inch?
You could, yeah. Yep. We could. And ideally, I'm trying to get this, you know, this sauce in a pan. It could be in a little saucepan itself. This more for presentation purposes because this is a little flat and it might slosh around a little bit. So I got our vegetables there. We'll just tent those and keep those warm. You can put them in a like 200-degree oven also if you want. I'm going to keep this pan on because we're going to saute the shrimp in here also. Yeah, I do have a little bit more butter for that. So clarified butter is making the butter, you're melting the butter, then you're taking, the milk solids are going to go down to the, you want to melt it slowly. The milk solids will go down to the bottom of the pan. You're going to have the clear liquid on top, and there might be a little stuff on top that you can skim off with a ladle. And then basically you just want to use that clear yellow butter and keep away from the milk. The milk is going to help, the milk tends to help burn things in the pan when you're trying to do some things with high heat. But at the same time, I'm making a beurre blanc sauce where we need the butter cold, and we call it fresh butter because it's diced in half-inch cubes. You want this cold to add to the sauce because that's what's going to help make it creamy and rich, and you're going to feel that on your tongue. So right now I got my shrimp. I'm just going to put a little seasoning on those. And we have the butter in the pan, and this one you want these kind of hot. And I'm trying to, we're going to get this cooked for presentation also. So I do want those to be flat a little bit. They're going to curl up, and the tails are going to, curl over too. This sauce is about ready because it's reduced to the way we want it to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly stir in some of this cubed butter. Again, that's for the creaminess effect. It also kind of makes it a little thicker in a way, more sauce-like consistency. So our shrimp are just cooking away and changing color. You're going to get nice bright white and orange. So for a small amount like this, I'm able to do that in two batches. Basically, now you don't. Once this butter melts, you could actually turn the heat off and let this finish melting, and this sauce should stay warm, but not. You don't want to boil this again. It could break. So that butter is done. The flame is off. Sauce just needs a little seasoning. I try not to put black pepper in here because obviously you'll see the black specks. So I try and stay away from that. You could use a little white pepper. And so I got these shrimp. I'm going to basically kind of do three sides. I got the bottoms done. Now I want to get one side, then the other side, and then they only take a minute or two to cook. You hear them sizzling, right? So our sauce is ready, our shrimp are cooking, and then once we go to plate, and I want to also show you how to make some orange segments. So, to do the orange, I cut the ends off. Now I have a base to work with. Now I'm going to kind of peel it, and I'm going to try and just see where the orange starts and the peel separates. So I'm just going to work my way with that knife all the way around. As we get that, then we're going to make some orange segments with no skin on them, and it just makes a good garnish. And then if I missed anything on the bottom, which I didn't, but you could just go and get the white parts off. I'm going to take a paring knife and watch my shrimp here. The shrimp are done. I'm going to just put those there and keep those warm. We'll keep that covered for just 1 second. As we go to plate up, I got the oranges and I'm going in between those little white lines. I'm just going to pop one out. So it's pretty simple to do. In your kit, I'm going to have these already done for you. I'm just trying to give you a little demonstration on how to make them because they're so good. You could do these for your breakfast also or whatever. And the kids have no skins on them and can't complain, right? Oranges are nice and healthy for you. So as you get that, you just work your way around making segments. And for this dish, we only need like three I like to do everything in odd numbers. It just makes for better plate presentation and such. So that's why we have 3 shrimp as an appetizer. And then this one you can, if you wanted to squeeze a little orange juice, you can put a little bit right in there, and then that's good to go. So we have our orange segments, we have our, now to plate, we'll just take our vegetables. We could do these a lot of different ways. You can put it in 3 little bundles. We could do a strip. I have a rectangle plate here right now, so maybe we'll just go down the row. You know, and then what we can do is we can put our shrimp standing up. Like I said, you can do this with the tail or without. And you know, if we wanted to pull those tails off, we could. I just think that it looks a little better with. And then we can just put a couple orange segments there. Best if these are room temperature, because so we don't have the cold and hot balance going on. Our sauce is nice and buttery and creamy. And then we're just going to spoon that right over the shrimp. Since it is kind of clear, it's not going to take away from the color of the shrimp. And it's also going to blend with the vegetables and give that a citrus effect also. And obviously we do have a little extra sauce, which is great. This dish, like I said, the beurre blanc sauce doesn't hold up for a very long time. So you do want to make it fresh. Then we're just going to garnish that with a little bit of chive. And our end result is we got our sauteed shrimp with a citrus beurre blanc, julienne vegetables, orange segments. It makes a great appetizer to start out with. Hope you enjoy that. So now I'm making the pork tenderloin, and that's with the apple pan sauce with butternut squash, Granny Smith apples, and we're also going to do some caramelized onions, and then we're going to make the sauce right in the pan. Some people are a little apprehensive about butternut squash and what it is, and or how to actually work with it. We want to show you how to make it a little easier. And so basically, I'm going to saute this. I'm going to dice it up. There's 2 ends to the butternut squash, and there's a top. I'm just going to cut that part off. I'm going to cut this where it starts to start to go out a little bit, and there is some seeds in here, but we can work on that. Then the other thing is I'm just going to cut this so it's workable for me, because I'm going to dice this up. I only need a little bit. I just wanted to show you for demonstration purposes how to work with butternut squash a little bit. It's kind of firm, but make it so when you are using a knife that you're not doing too much and too large, because if your knife slips with this, it's kind of hard. In the middle there are some seeds, and then basically they're right in the middle, and we can just scoop those out with a spoon. Once we got those scooped out, then we have our flesh again. So that's fine. Sometimes brown sugar is my best friend with butternut squash. I do salt, pepper, butternut squash, a little butter, and then I can roast these and make soup. I can make a mashed butternut squash. I can saute them, dice them, or I could roast them. So I do a lot of different things with that, and right now is the best time for that season. For what we're going to do right now is we're just going to dice them up. So I got this, and I need to peel it somehow. So I'm just going to take my knife and go down, and it's a flat surface, so it's safe. I know where my knife is, and it's not going to roll around on me if I have it flat. So we're just going to get that skin off. Now I have something that I can totally work with. Whoops. And there's a little bit there. So we're going to dice this. So I want to cook this really fast. So I'm just going to cut this into kind of 1/8 inch strips here. And then now I have little squares, right? So now I can take a couple of these at one time, and I can dice these up for the size that I want to. So I'm going to cut this into like 3, And then I'm going to line them up again and cut those into squares also. So I did a 3 by 3 on that one. You know, it's all different size and whatever. Okay. So now we have our butternut squash to be diced up. I'm only going to give you enough that, you know, for this dish. I do have some extra here, but we'll save that for a different purpose. The other thing is, you could do this in all different kinds of shapes. You know, sometimes I like to just peel it and keep it a half moon. And I'll cut those about a 1/4 inch thick, lay them on a sheet pan with a little butter, salt, pepper, brown sugar, and then pour some more butter over it and roast those about 400 degrees for about 20 minutes is all. And then you got a nice little piece of butternut squash, and you stack those up, and it just tastes phenomenal. So we have our butternut squash. And that's how we dice that. And then I'm going to move on to some potato pancakes, which, you know, this is kind of like a German thing starting out. And, it's just something that's so good. I haven't made them in a while, and I really like them, and I was amazed at how good they were tasting. So I do need a grater. I have a peeled potato right here. So we need 1 potato, and I'm giving you, we're going to need to grate some onion also. And the best way to grate the onion is, you know, on here also, and then we'll do that right with the potatoes, and that's going to make our mixture. So 1 potato, this makes, it's going to make about 6 potato pancakes, depending on the size, thickness, and all that. So we just want, so you might have a little extra compared to what the recipe really says. So I'm going to grate those onions right in there, about a 1/4 of an onion to 1 potato. Now we have our potato mixture here. We're going to put these in a bowl. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take an egg, which we can beat on the side, and then just so that gets well mixed. I'm just going to beat that egg. I'm going to take some, I need a half teaspoon of salt. I'm going a half teaspoon of pepper. I kind of like pepper. I didn't think it was overpowering for this dish, but you could go less as you desire. And then I have some flour. So you have a 1/4 cup of flour here to add to that. And it's best if you can make these right away. So I'm just mixing that up. It looks pretty tight. There's no water right now, which is great. No liquid. Okay, so I'm going to add some clarified butter. Now, depending on the size again that you want to make, you can just put those in the pan. If you want to make little small ones, if you want them, you know, nice and round, if you want bigger ones, that's fine too. And we can also sprinkle some chive in there. That's optional. I think chives give it a great flavor also, but we do have the onion in there. And it's smelling pretty good right now. So we want these golden brown. You don't want your heat too high. And we'll just let those cook a couple minutes. I got a spatula for that. I'll just pack them down just a little bit. Sometimes when you do them a little free form and loose, it gives a little more character. It looks more homemade. And you're like, okay, well, you know, look, these are made fresh by someone. If you make them all perfect round, which you could do, then, you know, it looks more processed. But when you make something this good, you want people to know, oh, look, I made these from scratch. I do have our pan on, and what we're going to do also is we're going to saute some caramelized onions. So I have a half onion here. I'm going to slice this. I'm going to keep my knuckles down. I'm going to slice it all the way through so I get long slices. I'm going to keep them kind of thin. And as I get down to the end over here, I'm getting, you know, it's still, I did that so it come in half so it's a flat surface. But now when I get down to the end here, it gets a little flimsy, and I get scared. So I turn it down that way. So now it's a firm surface. And then And it's got some nice slices there. I'm going to take some clarified butter, put that in the pan. Caramelizing, what does that mean? Caramelizing means you're taking we're going to saute these onions, and they have a lot of natural sugars in them, and that's what's going to give their caramelization effect. The other part is the heat of the pan, and then you're not going to want to stir them too much. You do want to have the fat to coat them so it cooks evenly. And then they're going to take on a little color, and then we can always turn that down. But right now we're looking for some color. We're not looking for a black burnt color. We're looking for, to get a nice golden brown, a deep golden brown now. Kind of like that. Look at that. Wow, there's a part of a potato pancake going on. So we just want to flip those, let those go a little longer. These are raw potatoes, so we want them cooked all the way through. And then, so those are cooking. You might need to add a little more oil throughout the process just to, so they don't burn on you. We got some onions. The other thing is we're going to add a little salt. Salt's going to help balance those flavors and get them going. The trick to flipping, the trick is to push out and lift up. Yeah, it's something you can practice with. You don't necessarily have to use food to do it, but once you get the technique going, you can just keep going. You're using the pan. It's not a straight up-sided pan. It goes out. It's bowed out a little bit, so that's going to help get that flip going. Okay, now we're starting to get a little color. We're just going to let those go a little longer. We do want a little richer color, so I'm still keeping the heat up a little bit, and then we'll turn it down to get that sweetness out of the onions and soft and smooth. Our potato pancakes, they're coming along quite nicely. All right, so now we're going to dice up the apples about the same as the butternut squash. We're going to get some color on the apples and the butternut squash. Then we're going to add a little brown sugar to that also. We do want the butternut squash to cook a little bit before, just to help us soften those vegetables. This one, the apple's a little, we don't need so much of the apple. We want to balance it all out. Our pork is getting a nice color on both sides. And we are going to season with a little salt and pepper, the apples and butternut squash. And like I said, really like that brown sugar to go with the apples and the butternut squash. So we're kind of building this whole thing right in the pan. Now also caramelize a little as well. Let's go ahead and finish cooking our pork. And then once we go to deglaze the pan, we have some apple cider vinegar and we have some chicken broth. And chicken broth I use because it's a neutral flavor, and it does have a meat flavor to it, a poultry flavor, and it goes well with the pork and it doesn't take away from the pork. That's cooking up. I got the apple cider vinegar. I'll add now. And I got the chicken broth. So the apple cider vinegar gives a little acid to the dish. It also has that appley flavor. And then we're adding the chicken broth. And now it's kind of all cooking together. The pork might cook before this, and then we'll finish reducing that sauce. And then that'll be the apple pan sauce. In the meantime, we can get ready to plate, as this will only take a couple minutes. So right now we got our pork. It's cooking up. Basically, pork tenderloin and any pork right now, you can cook this by the health department guidelines. It's a 145 for 3 seconds. So it can be a medium rare, more like a medium texture. So it doesn't have to be cooked all the way as it once used to be. Our standards are so much better for how we take care of the pork and everything. So now I got some nice potato pancakes that look homemade. I have some caramelized onions, and as that's finishing up there, we can just put a little caramelized onion on the plate. Obviously there's extra, which is fantastic. depending on how we want these potato pancakes, the end result to look, we can keep them whole, we can cut them in half. But like I said, I'm kind of going for that homemade, rustic look where it's irregular. I have the pork tenderloin. That's done now. You can also kind of test it by pushing on it a little bit. You don't want it to be really, really soft. And as we can see, our apples have cooked. The butternut squash is tender and soft. And then our sauce reduced down, so it's just enough to complement the dish. We can put that on the side. Build that up. Then we have just a little bit of chive to garnish. So I think, man, this is a nice fall rustic dish, perfect time of year, especially if you're tired of turkey after Thanksgiving. And then it's a quick meal. It's quick and homemade, and it's good and it's tender because it's pork tenderloin. And it cooks up super fast, as you can see. So I just really like this dish. Potato pancakes goes well with some applesauce if you wanted to. We have apples in the dish. And then the butternut squash, again, a great fall favorite. And then the caramelized onions, that enhances so many different meat dishes if you like them. And those onions can also go on top also if you like, just as a garnish or whatever. And it just gives great flavor. Something like that. And this is Chef Joe's pan-seared pork tenderloin apple pan sauce with butternut squash, potato pancakes, and caramelized onions. Thank you. I hope you enjoy and come back and visit us and see us at Eagle Ridge for more dinners to come. Thank you.